Late one autumn night, a weary traveler was walking down the main street in Elgin, a city in the north of Scotland. To tell the truth, it wasn't where he'd intended to be. He'd intended to be asleep at this hour in a nice, warm inn in a town several miles further down the road where he had business. But because of a series of unfortunate events, a storm and a lame horse among them, there he was, far away from his intended destination. And as he walked down the street, he was tired and he was hungry. But he saw no lights in any of the buildings and no activity on the street. And he thought to himself that surely he could expect nothing more than a cold night on the hard ground and nothing at all to eat. But then, as if by a miracle, he smelled something delicious. Soup, he thought, surely soup. It smelled warm and savory. He looked around to see where that delicious aroma could be coming from. And as he walked a little further down the street, he saw the source. It was a large building. From the condition of the building, he would have thought it deserted long ago. But above the entrance, there was a worn wooden sign that said, Calder House. And surely that was the source of that delicious smell. Well, he thought to himself, if someone's cooking, that means that someone's awake. And maybe, just maybe, I can get something to eat and even a warm place to spend the night. So feeling brave, he walked up to the door and knocked. The door creaked open, and there in the entryway stood a woman. He couldn't see her clearly, for the light was dim, and she was standing in the shadows. But he introduced himself, and he asked as politely as he could if it might be possible to get something to eat and a warm place to spend the night. The woman responded, Of course, I'm Nellie Holmes, and you are welcome here. She gestured to one side, and she said, Down the hall. You'll find the kitchen. Help yourself to the soup. And the weary traveler, grateful, walked down the hall and soon found himself in a large kitchen. At one end, there was a huge fireplace all made of stone, and on the fire, an enormous cauldron bubbling away. Oh, it smelled so good. In front of the fireplace, there was a rocking chair that looked very comfortable. And so the man sank down into the rocking chair for a few moments, just enjoying the warmth and the comfort. But then the rumbling in his stomach reminded him of how hungry he was. He looked around the room, and there he saw a small table, and on the table, a bowl and a spoon and a ladle. He said, perfect. It's almost as though they were expecting me. And so he picked up the bowl and the ladle, and he leaned forward to ladle some of the soup into his bowl. And that's when it happened. Maybe he leaned forward too far, or maybe he leaned forward too fast, or maybe it was just some hidden mechanism in the rocking chair. But as soon as he leaned forward, the chair gave a lurch. It catapulted him up into the air and dropped him into the cauldron of boiling soup. Several days later, two urchins were walking down the same street. They were looking for mischief when they smelled something delicious. Take heed, good Elgin folk, and be sure to tell your own. If the road be dark, the night be cold, and you venture into town, ne'er pass too close to old Calder House, if you be there alone. For Nell, she'll bid you welcome, and you'll ne'er be coming home.